Your day and stay safe. From KCRG TV9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
And welcome again, friends, to First Alert Weather Now. Here, I am meteorologist Corey Thompson.
I'm meteorologist AJ Rickman.
And it is another warm day across eastern Iowa, and we'll see how long that lasts coming up in just a little bit. We've also got an update on our climate connection, too.
Yes, we're going to have a quick little look at how our tropical Atlantic tropical hurricane season has worked out so far and how that compares to where we've been in years past, where we are compared to average. And we'll talk a little bit about how that would change with the climate changing as it is going forward.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about how it compares to things were expected this year. I know there's a lot of talk about a really busy hurricane season. We'll find out where we stand. Absolutely,
that'll be fun to do. But first, let's have a look at what you need to know for tonight. So as we have a look at your First Alert forecast, the big thing you're going to notice is that warmer weather is continuing. We're going to have satellite and radar. Oops, sorry, nope, not that. First Alert, for warm temperatures do continue as we go through the night tonight. And then tomorrow we are going to see some storms. Some of them could be strong during the afternoon. And then this weekend we are going to see some off and on rain chances. That'll be our first good rain chance we've had in a while. Right now, as we have a look at our satellite and radar, a little bit of cloud cover drifting overhead, but that's about the most active weather you're going to notice through the night tonight. We're quiet, we're a little bit mild as well. Keep in mind, we should be having our average low temperatures in the lower 50s, so we're running about 10 degrees above normal. We're going to have that quiet weather, some passing clouds through the night tonight, but then tomorrow we do have some rain chances that move in during the afternoon. We're also watching for the potential for some strong to severe storms. Those primary threats would be damaging wind, large hail. Can't rule out an isolated tornado, especially early on in the evening. And then coming up in your full forecast, Corey will break down the exact timing with regards to that.
Yeah, it feels like we haven't had to deal with, well, rain to start with for quite some time, much less the threat for a little bit of severe weather. So stick with us to get more information on that. But in and around these rain chances, there are still events going on in eastern Iowa. We want you to know what to expect. Here's your forecast for fun with Justin Roberts.
It is time for the most fun segment on First Alert Weather Now, our forecast for fun, and we have plenty to chew on. Let's start with your walking forecast as we head through the rest of the week into the early weekend. Again, some scattered shower chances for our Thursday early morning. Looks like a better chance Thursday overnight into early Friday, clearing Friday afternoon, and then we bring some more chances in as we head through our Saturday, and the weekend looks to be an off and on soggy one. We'll talk more about that through the course of the program. Friday night lights, temperatures in the upper 70s. Game of the week, it's Iowa City High taking on West, 77 degrees for the kickoff. Fourth quarter, 71 with a few clouds. Iowa Fall Festival rolls on out at Atkins at Bloomsbury Farm. We'll see some late night showers Friday. Off and on chances for Saturday and into Sunday. Notice the temps steadily cooling as we head through the weekend. You wake up Saturday, you want to do the farmer's market and take the umbrella and your sunglasses. You'll need both with some scattered showers. 10 a.m. is what we've zeroed in on. We'd love for you to stop by and see us here at TV9. We're going to kick off our Coats for Kids campaign right out in front of the station. So if you're going to be out and about Saturday, we'd love to have you here. All right, these are the three games we've been looking at. There they are in chronological order. Let's start in Ames. Iowa State taking on Arkansas State. 74 for kickoff, some scattered showers. Halftime upper 70s, passing showers through the afternoon as you head home, low 80s. The evening game, Iowa traveling north to Minnesota. Looking for a couple scattered showers in Minneapolis, upper 70s there. Kickoff will be about 70 degrees at 6:30 with clouds. 67 for the end of the game. And the late night game, Northern Iowa at Hawaii. Honolulu looking superb. 86 for your tailgate. This is an 11 o'clock Iowa kickoff, which means it'll be late afternoon, early evening there. 81, 75 for the end of the game, all of which looking great for this time of year. Full details on all of these and so much more right here on our website and online at kcrg.com. Guys?
Now, your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Corey Thompson.
View from our Cassville City Cam where the sun is setting. That deck of mid to high level clouds has now moved east far enough that we're starting to see enough clear sky to the west to allow that really nice looking sunset to take place. Of course, the Cassville Ferry in the foreground and the Mississippi, of course, too, looking a little low at this point. Temperatures in the low to mid 80s right now at this hour. 86 in Waterloo, 82 in Cedar Rapids. Dew points are a little bit higher than the last couple of days where they're now in the upper 50s to around 60, so slightly stickier. and we'll see that process continue over the next couple of days as well. Your first alert over the next 24 hours. As we look ahead toward the tail end of your Thursday, that's when we could see some strong to severe storms. So the first round of activity that's possible in the morning, likely on the lighter side, but it's the evening hours where we could see some of that. That's where we want you to stay most weather aware as we get this storm system moving toward us. This area of low pressure well to our northwest, you can see it very evidently here with this swirl of clouds and precipitations around it. Area of a cold front extending out in front of it. And there could be some storms that develop in the Dakotas and Nebraska as we go over the next couple of hours too. Your first alert forecast overnight, temperatures dip into the upper 50s to mid 60s. Coolest readings again in the east with 61 in Dubuque, 65 though in Charles City, 66 in Oskaloosa. Partly cloudy is how we'll characterize it, as the evening clouds that we have right now will be spreading off to the east. In their wake, we've seen that clearing, a few more scattered clouds in central Iowa, but we will wait until later in the night for additional cloud cover and the possibility of a few showers, 7 o'clock, some up near Charles City, and then we could see some additional isolated to widely scattered showers during the morning hours, but they will be relatively harder to come by, and they'll probably diminish as we head closer to lunchtime and just beyond. During that time frame, we'll actually warm up a little bit. A southerly breeze will help push in some of those warmer temperatures. It's also going to draw in a little bit more moisture, so expect a somewhat muggier feel to the air later in the day on Thursday. And all of this will set the stage for a cold front to push into it and then give us the chance for some new scattered shower and storm development. See here by 7 o'clock, we've got some of that activity in north central Iowa pushing into the TV9 viewing area during the evening. These storms could continue their progress from Oskaloosa up to near Cedar Rapids and Prairie du Chien by about midnight and spreading to the southeast from there. 2 o'clock close to the Mississippi, and by the start of your Friday, we should be talking about drier weather. Now, AJ previewed this. This is the slight risk for severe weather we have in place for the evening hours on Thursday in particular. Damaging wind, large hail, the main threats. An isolated tornado, probably more so near Interstate 35 into the west when those storms develop. Here in eastern Iowa, we're probably looking at more of that first 2 portions of those threats, but we'll keep a close eye on it. We want you to as well. Before that, temperatures into the upper 80s and near 90 degrees. 90 in Waterloo, 88 in Washington. That chance of storms is out there. And then after that, we have a dry Friday followed up by more rain. As we head into the weekend, you saw that from Justin Roberts. Some of those weekend activities could be dampened by some of this rain activity. Saturday and then especially Sunday into Monday is where we could see a pretty good push of moisture that gives us some of the more substantial rainfall we've seen in some time. And that rain could actually add up really substantially too. We're talking rainfall totals that could exceed an inch, perhaps over 2 inches if you get multiple rounds of some of those heavier bits of activity. Now, temperatures will be headed down with this system too. We're going to get down into the low to mid 70s for highs after that, lows in the low to mid 50s. So a pretty big shift there as we head through next week.
Absolutely. You know, it's nice to see a little bit of rain and a little more active weather. It's nice to see those cooler temperatures as well because fall's starting soon and it's about time for it to start feeling like it.
Yeah, we had that one little taste for a weekend and that was about it. So September has brought warmer temperatures lately and we'll shift back. And who knows, we may shift back again after that. Now, we haven't had to deal with lightning very much lately.
No, we have not, but it's going to be important to be safe with the lightning. In fact, the odds of getting struck by lightning or of someone getting struck by lightning are less than 1 in a million, but it can still happen, and Jody Kurzman shows us that that's a statistic that 3 Bismarck, North Dakota teens know all too well, and the boys were struck by lightning while hunting out a few weeks ago, so that will show you guys that story.
This video
poles are bent,
shows what's left of Kason Schwartz goose blind.
pole sticking through the door.
That blind was struck by lightning. So was Kason and his buddies, Brady Podorowski and Keaston Krekla.
Cone shape to the west. The weather was starting to get bad, and then it was just a big bright light, and boom, right next to us. And we all just fell. And I woke up first, and I saw the other 2 guys laying on the ground.
All I remember is just hearing a loud boom, and then I wake up, and my gun was laying in front of me.
I remember like a big flash of light, and then my ears ringing super loud.
There is a lot they don't remember.
I don't know how that happened.
Including how long they were passed out. When they woke, the boys drove themselves home and then went to the emergency room.
Yeah, I have a brain bleed.
I had a flash burn in my eye, then I had kind of like a big cutout in my hand.
My head hurt for about 2 minutes after we got in the truck, and then my right foot was tingly. That's it.
And you're fine now?
Yep, nothing.
Do you feel lucky?
Yeah, you could say that, because most people in that situation would be dead.
And while this experience won't keep these teens from doing what they love, they do say it's changed them a little.
You won't catch me outside when it's raining.
In Bismarck, I'm Jody Kurzman, reporting for your news leader.
Well, for this week's Climate Connection, we're going to have a look at the tropics. We're going to be talking about where we are this current Atlantic hurricane season. We'll also have a look at where we are compared to average, and then where the last couple of years have taken us in terms of where we've been with the tropics. So, Atlantic hurricane season, it starts on June 1st and then it ends on November 30th. Typically it peaks around September 10th, so we did just get by the peak for the Atlantic hurricane season for this year. We typically see 14 named storms. Out of those named storms, 7 of them become hurricanes, and then 3 of those storms turn into major hurricanes. Now this year we have already seen 8 named storms. Gordon was the most recent one to form, and as we have a look at what happened with the rest of those storms, 8 of them became named storms, as I mentioned. 4 of them became hurricanes, and then we did have 1 that became a major hurricane. That was Beryl, the second storm to form this year, and of course it was the earliest forming Category 5 storm that we've ever had on record in the Atlantic Basin. Typically, again, 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes, and the forecast is still for us to have a pretty active Atlantic hurricane season this year. Still forecasted to have 17 to 24 named storms. Of those, 8 to 13 of them are expected to become hurricanes, and then 4 to 7 of those storms are still anticipated to become major hurricanes. So even though we're past the peak for Atlantic hurricane season, we can still certainly see plenty of named storms as we go through the rest of the month of September and then into the month of October as well. Now, as our world gets warmer and our oceans get warmer as well, that does create an environment that's more favorable for storms to develop. And we've seen some signs of that over the last 20 years, where we've had 13 of the years that had more than the average number of storms form, more than 14 storms in a year. And one of those years was we did have 30 named storms in 2020. That was the most active year on record in the Atlantic Basin. And then out of the previous 5 years, 4 of those have seen more storms than what you would normally see, a higher number of named storms than your average number of 14. So, with all of that in mind, why do we care about that here in eastern Iowa? Well, it's not often, but every now and again we do have those storms that make landfall in the U.S. and then they work their way up into the Midwest, and sometimes they do impact eastern Iowa. We've only had 2 named storms that have made it all the way into eastern Iowa. That was the Galveston hurricane in 1900, and then 120 years later we did have Tropical Storm Cristobal in 2020 that was able to make it all the way into eastern Iowa as a tropical depression. You can see here that since 1886 we have also had quite a few storms that have tracked just off to our southeast and then off to our east, so we do still see some indirect impacts from these systems as they move by. Recently we did have Francine that came and impacted our weather for a couple of days, brought us some cloud cover and some increasing humidity, and those are some of the impacts that we can see from these tropical systems as they move near eastern Iowa. Some of those remnants, again, can bring an increase in humidity, some more cloud cover, and they can also bring some potentially heavy rainfall should those storms track into or close enough to Iowa to spread some of that tropical rainfall into our area. So, as we do watch over the next several years to see what does happen, as well as the rest of this year with the tropical systems that we'll be dealing with, it'll be good to be aware of just the impacts that you can have with the tropical systems that we get in this area. Coming up next week for your Climate Connection, we'll have another interview with our state climatologist, Justin Glisson.
Thank you, AJ. We do have at least some rain on the way. Not tropical rain for sure, and we're actually not getting that deep Gulf moisture involved with at least our initial storm system. We will see an increase, but we're not seeing those extremely high dew points as we head toward your Thursday, but just enough that it does increase that chance for severe weather just a little bit. Should be some information here showing that slight risk of severe weather again in our northwest counties. Looks like that didn't want to cooperate at this moment, but we do at least have that break in between. We're not going to see that drastic cool down on Friday, still upper 80s likely there, but then we begin that process toward cooler temperatures as we head toward the weekend. That involves a little bit more rain on Saturday and a better chance on Sunday. In fact, when you include all of that rain, it could add up again as, like we said, 1 to 2 inches. And it's all part of this process that's going to give us cooler temperatures. The process really does start this weekend, where we go from warm and above normal temperatures tomorrow and Friday, represented by these yellows and oranges, to either close to or even in some cases below normal temperatures as we head toward next week. Now, that's something we haven't been able to say since the start of this month. And then as we get there, we're going to stay there likely for a little while. That line stays closer to the normal line as we head toward next week. Perhaps a slight upward trend as we head toward the end of it, but that's still several days away, and so we will still be watching that as we get closer. But for those looking for that slight chill to the air. We will have mornings like that as we head toward next week too. Those overnight lows could dip into the upper 40s in some spots, which will be a nice change of pace. I don't mind the warm weather, but I do understand those that don't. And so it has been exceptionally warm lately.
It has been, and it's, it's felt nice out there. It's been enjoyable to go swimming and things like that, but it's time. We're getting into fall. Let's get some cooler air in here.
Yeah, exactly, and it's going to be here, hopefully, at least for a little while. Thanks for joining us tonight on Weather Now. We will be back again tomorrow night with more, and I hope you have a great night.